Here's Brody Brazil.
With apologies to those of you watching this video from the Midwest, I actually need to begin with a little geography lesson for everybody else, just to make sure we're all on the same page here. This is something so simple, but also so important to what I'm about to say. This is the state line between Kansas and Missouri. You've got Kansas on the left, you've got Missouri on the right. Now, wait a second. I see Kansas City twice there. That's correct. Once on the left, once on the right. There is a Kansas City, Kansas, and a Kansas City, Missouri. You're probably more familiar as a sports fan with Kansas City, Missouri. That's where the Chiefs play, that's where the Royals play, and that's what all of this, by the way, is all about. A piece from the Missouri Independent, which has a headline saying Kansas lawmakers approve tax incentive bill to lure the Chiefs and Royals away from Missouri. Now, wait a second. Where are they going? Well, they're going from Kansas City, Missouri, maybe across the border to Kansas City, Kansas. Why is that important? What's at play here? What's recently been going on? Well, let's start with that. Back on April 2nd, in Jackson County, Missouri, they had a vote which would either extend a 3/8 cent sales tax that had existed for a very long time. It would have extended that another 40 years. Now, this is a tax especially for sports teams and stadiums. It was for the Chiefs and the Royals to upkeep Arrowhead and to upkeep Kauffman Stadium. 50-50, simple as that for the two main pro sports teams. The Royals had said all along if they got some money out of this and if this vote passed, they were going to take that money and apply it to building a brand new downtown stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. They wanted to get out of the Truman Sports Complex. The Chiefs said, hey, you know what? We'd like to stay at our current location. We'd just like to fix up Arrowhead. If they demolish the baseball stadium, we'll have even more room on the property. So all of the plans were kind of laid out, and the push was on by both teams to really make sure that this vote passed so that they would continue reaping the benefits. Well, guess what? On April 2nd, it was a resounding result with the vote, and that result was a no. Sales tax for stadiums in Jackson County, no, 58%. Yes, only 42%. So this left both teams pretty frustrated, pretty upset. There were some things that were said. There were some things that were assumed and weren't said. But you can understand that both teams were pretty frustrated about this, and they want public assistance for their renovations, or in the case of the Royals, their brand new stadiums, and they weren't going to get the help that they wanted. Enter the state of Kansas, potentially. This from the Missouri Independent. The Kansas City Royals and Chiefs could receive hundreds of millions of dollars in sales tax revenue to move from Missouri and build new stadiums across the state line under legislation passed this past Tuesday by Kansas lawmakers. The Kansas House voted 84-38, and the Senate voted 27-8 to approve legislation that would expand a state incentive program in an attempt to lure one or both teams from Kansas City. The bill now heads to Governor Laura Kelly, a Democrat, who said in a statement following the Senate vote that the effort to bring the teams to Kansas, quote, shows we're all in on keeping our beloved teams in the Kansas City metro. By the way, neither team has promised to move to Kansas. Like, they've not said officially, hey, if this happens, if this opens up, we're out of here. But both teams, the Royals and the Chiefs, they both actively lobbied for the passage of that legislation, which is about to pass. This is such an interesting and unique situation. When you take a look across the country and all the different teams that are talking about relocation, wanting public money for a new stadium, between baseball and the Oakland A's and Chicago White Sox and Tampa Bay Rays and different basketball teams and football teams and even some hockey teams. This is so unique because it's two teams in one area, so two states, but only one region. And even if they cross the state line, I mean, going to a Royals game or a Chiefs game, it's not like the team is leaving town. They're leaving the state, but only really crossing the state line. They're going from one Kansas City to another. So it doesn't have the drama or the tension of, oh my gosh, this area might lose their two teams. No, the two teams might move. It's very similar to, well, in basketball. When the Golden State Warriors moved out of Oakland, 7 miles away across the bridge to San Francisco, sure, it's a different zip code, it's a different area code, it's a different county, has a totally different feel in downtown San Francisco, but for fans in Northern California and the Bay Area, it's still their team. It's just driving to a different venue. I think it's obvious that with the vote back on April 2nd, Missouri made a pretty straightforward statement about public funding in Jackson County and in their state. They had had enough with it. They supported the Royals and the Chiefs for a very long time. The Royals had done well and struggled, a little bit of both over the years, but for the most part, they had some successes. I mean, they won a World Series in the last decade. And the Chiefs just won a Super Bowl and look to be poised to win a lot more in the next handful of years. And so citizens in Missouri said, you know what, I think you'll be fine on your own. If you want to build a new stadium or fix up your stadium, you can probably take care of that. And yeah, the teams are clearly upset. And now they're seeking leverage and options. And of course, they're going to look across the river or look across state lines and say, you know what, I wonder if Kansas, I should say, can help us. And so there is kind of a play here between Missouri and Kansas as states. Two different entities, one region, but they both have different things they're trying to get out of this. And the state of Kansas, to me, again, take it from me because, you know, I'm Mr. Midwest right now, but how I see it from a couple thousand miles away, the state of Kansas here is kind of like the younger sibling, the less experienced person in all of this. They're trying to lure these two teams away from Missouri. And the way to do it is to say, hey, we'll give you more. Not only will we give you what you want, we'll make sure that it's pretty much everything you need. We're talking about bonds being floated here to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. They want to pay for like 75% of the cost of new stadiums for one or both of these teams. Like, that is a large financial commitment when the total cost might be upwards of $1.5–2 billion each. You never really know how this is going to shake out. So the question is Kansas, because they're all antsy, they're all motivated now, they see this chance, they see this opportunity, and you kind of get some different feelings from lawmakers all around. Some are saying, hey, bonds are a bad idea. Why do we want to take this on? Let them figure it out with Missouri. Let them have that process play out. Other politicians in Kansas are saying, now's our time to not play second fiddle. We want to jump in on this. But will Kansas really overspend and try to lure in one or both of the teams? Are they separate? Are they individual? Or do they kind of come as a package deal? That's another question here to ask. So again, out of all the different videos I make and out of all the different topics here on the channel, this one is kind of unique because it's not like one or two teams leaving the market, but it is a play and it is kind of a power thing. And it is two teams that are going to do pretty much everything they can to secure public money for their brand new venues. You made it here to the end of this video. You know, I really appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That greatly helps me, this video, and this channel. And by the way, if you've never seen me before, I'm actually glad you found me. Thanks for that. But I want to make sure you come back again next time. So go down there and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you down the road.